3 times a year, I participate in the King's Daughter Writing Camp. It is a wonderful time of fellowship and encouragement for Christian writers all around the world. At these camps, we each pick a goal and work towards it throughout the month. Over the past few years, I have worked on my upcoming novel, Battle for the Land of Sweets. This was fairly easy in November, when Christmas decorations were popping up everywhere and Christmas music was playing in every store. But it was a bit harder in March and July. Last year, I decided to create a Christmas in July experience to keep myself in the mindset for my book. I know others do this sort of thing all the time, but it was a first for me. I watched Christmas movies, listened to Christmas music, and I decorated my office in Christmas decorations. For fun, I decided to vlog my experience. Here is how the month went. Today is the first day of my Christmas in July writing retreat. It is also the first day of the King's Daughter Writing Camp and the day I'm leaving for camping with my parents for 4th of July weekend. Let's be honest, it's not real camping. We're staying in a cabin, but I prefer it that way. So my focus for today was to get myself in the Christmas in July mindset. I had cinnamon hot chocolate for breakfast. I set up the tree in my office, and I watched some holiday baking shows. As for my writing project, I started my first official bookbinder. I've never actually had one of these before, but I realized with my last series that I really needed one. So I put a couple of pages in the front that has the general series information, then sections for world building, character profiles, and scene cards. I also printed out a couple reminders about the story structure I have chosen, and then slipped the notes I already had for this project into the front flaps. Now I'm all packed and ready to get a little bit of work done on my vacation. The first week of my Christmas in July writing retreat is officially over. Considering I spent half of that time on a family vacation camping in Northern California, I'm quite happy with my progress. My office is decorated, my Nutcracker collection is now all over my room. I was kind of surprised with how it all turned out. Usually they're spread throughout the house amongst my wedding decorations, because that also was at Christmas time. And now it's all inside my office, and it's creating quite a unique aesthetic that I think is going to create just the right ambiance for this retreat. On the writing front, I have filled out the information sheets that I made from my series Bible, as well as the ones for the first book. This includes an overview, world building, and character profiles. I still have to finish the outline though. This is my first experience creating a bookbinder. I'm finding that it's making me ask important questions and discovering things about the story that I hadn't thought of. On the other hand, my pantser side is balking at the idea of an outline portion. I know I do better when I have an outline to follow, so for now, I'm going to press on. I'm itching to get started writing though. I guess we'll have to see what happens next week. I'm a couple days into week 2, and personally, I was hoping I'd be further along. I'm kind of stuck in the outlining phase. I still believe that using my bookbinder has helped me create depth in my story, but on the other hand, trying to fit all of my ideas into this formulaic outline is sucking the creativity out of the process. I finally just wrote my prologue because I wanted so badly to get started. I loved it. It made me excited to keep going, so here I am. I might be changing up my system though. Normally I would have my outline perfected before writing the first draft. But I may intertwine the two steps, outline a little, write a little. We'll see how that goes. It's week 3. I had no idea I was going to be discovery writing so much of this story. It's been rolling around in the back of my head for 2 years. I thought I had all the details figured out already. Though, to be honest, this entire concept started many, many years ago when I would play with my nutcrackers as a kid. They were like my dolls. I would make up stories and then act them out with the nutcrackers, which kinda explains why some of them are so beat up now. And yet, I almost feel like I'm telling myself this story for the first time as I write it. So though it is taking me longer than I would like, I feel like it is worth it. Last night, like at midnight, my characters finally entered the Land of Sweets. It's time to really dive into the world building. One of the ways I'm doing this is by analyzing the actual Nutcracker music and using it as inspiration for some of the details. I'm paying attention to what instruments represent which characters and using the dynamics to inspire the different cultures of my fictional characters. Maybe at some point I'll make another video where I'll go into this whole thing in further detail. I'm fairly certain I won't be able to finish the entire book this month, but I'd rather go slower and get it right than speed through it and have to do a lot of revisions later. Okay, I was so focused last week trying to get in as much writing within the month as possible that I didn't take the time to record an update. So now that July is over, here's the update. I finished 7 chapters, and my characters were just starting their real foray into the Land of Sweets. Now, some people may think that that's not very much progress. However, for me, I'm going to accept the fact that it's a start, and one I'm proud of. With a full-time job, multiple commitments at church, and only a skeleton outline, I think any progress is good progress. I would rather go slow and get the story right the first time than have to do a rewrite later. Trust me. So where does that leave this project? One of the reasons it has taken so long to even get this far was that I only worked on it when I was inspired and devoted my main attentions to my More Than Conquerors series, since it already has a book published. This was usually only in November and December, and this one July. But I don't want to lose momentum anymore. For now, maybe about 2 more weeks, I'll keep the Christmas decorations up in my office. I'll slowly keep working on the first draft, even though I have a book release this month. My goal is to have the first draft done by November so I can spend the next King's Daughter writing camp typing the second draft. With any luck, I'll spend the first half of 2023 creating the design elements and publish it fall of 2023. Fingers crossed. I'm proud to say that I did stick to that timeline. I finished the first draft by the time the next King's Daughter writing camp came around in November. I worked on the second draft throughout that month, then sent it to my editor. And very quickly realized after seeing her edits that I still had a lot of revisions to do. But that's what happens when I decide to ditch my outline. But I did get to stay on track, and Battle for the Land of Sweets will be out October 17th, 2023.